1 week from today, Las Vegas will never be the same. Blake Scott will be there. I'll be there. We're looking forward to going to the draft. We're with the Saints contingent, which is kind of cool. And we're going to take Las Vegas by storm. We'll do a podcast on Friday. We may have some beverages during the podcast, but I think we've got a cool spot that we're going to broadcast from, too. So we're all excited about that. We'll be in Las Vegas a week from today. And Charles Cross is going to be a rich man sooner than later. And I'm confident that Matt Corral will be a top 15, top 20 pick. We'll see what the Steelers, among others, do. But it's going to be exciting. Our NFL draft coverage is brought to you by Cocktails in a Can. And that includes Crown Royal, Whiskey and Cola. You can find that at Corner Market grocery stores and Fleetway Market, among other spots. Also, Jameson, Ginger and Lime. Our NFL draft coverage brought to you by Crown Royal, Whiskey and Cola, and Jameson, Ginger and Lime, among other cocktails in a can, including Tanqueray and so on. We want to welcome in our friend Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. And Steve joins us on the Corona Premier Guest Line. So, all right, Steve, good morning. Do you think that once most drafts, Blake just referenced one where it didn't happen. Was it 2014, Blake? Yeah. But most drafts, when a quarterback is taken, then we have a run. People get antsy, they get nervous, they get aggressive, they get excited. Next Thursday, whoever is picked first, Malik Willis, Pickett, Corral, do you expect a run on the other two, or do you think it'll be like 2014 where you had one go number 3, one like 21, and one like 32? Steve?
Yeah, I can see this one being spread out again because I still don't think the NFL loves any of the QBs, and I don't think you're going to see the run. I think teams will just kind of be locked into their guy. I mean, I'm guilty of buying into pre-draft hype a little bit too much. So Kenny Pickett to the Panthers seems like a thing, hype-wise. The fact that the Steelers seem to love Malik Willis, kind of buying into that. So, maybe they're up to get Willis or whatever it might be. I'm just not sure we get the actual run that you got, say, in 2018 when you have, positioning for Josh Allen and getting Josh Rosen and all that stuff. And, 4 QBs are off the board in the top 10. I'm not seeing that necessarily this year.
Okay, so if you had to go pick a lane, you're thinking that there won't be the run that we have witnessed in the last few years, especially a few drafts, one that you just referenced, and we could see some spreading out depending on what's going on. All right. Top 5, a QB goes?
No, I think Pickett's the first one off the board at 6. I think that would be my final prediction. Again, getting maybe a little bit too overhyped based off the hype for me that the Panthers, because they're desperate, because they do seem to like Kenny Pickett, that I think he's going to be the guy. But I don't see teams trying to jump above them for Pickett or anyone else. So I think he's the top QB at 6.
Okay, I don't know why, but he's boring to me. Do you get that sense, or is it just me?
Yeah, I think he's kind of mischaracterized a lot of times in the media because if you listen to the way he's described, you get a lot of the same descriptions as Mac Jones last year.
Oh, God, that's boring.
You say, well, it's boring, but it's good football, right? If it's true, which is, he's accurate, he's on time, all that stuff. And Mac Jones was that guy. Like, Pickett's not really that guy as far as throwing on time and accuracy is not at Mac Jones. Like, I don't think he's as good as Mac Jones is the problem. So that's where I struggle with the Kenny Pickett stuff. I don't know that he's, best fit to just run an NFL offense. That's the other phrase that you hear a lot about Kenny Pickett. So I just don't know if that's all true. I've got plenty of reservations about him and, his ability to get the ball down the field, but also just playing on time and within structure effectively enough.
Holy smokes. All right, if you don't think Kenny, which I'm trusting you, if you don't think Kenny Pickett is better than Mac Jones, then Matt Corral is by far and away the best quarterback in this draft.
I mean,
did you see what I did there?
Listen, Yes. Do you think Matt Corral's better than Mac Jones? The best rookie
Hell
quarterback last
yes,
year?
I think Matt Corral is better than Mac Jones.
Mac was the best rookie quarterback last year.
But
And
it's because Bill Belichick's a genius. Steve Palazzolo?
No, it is not. Bill Belichick's a 500 coach without Tom Brady. Is he that big of a genius?
Oh, shots fired, and I like it.
How about that? How about it? So you know the Corral questions about the offense, and it's just trying to project him, right, and trying to project him into an NFL offense and what he has to do. And a lot of the good stuff was there, but, like all these guys, there's just question marks across the board for all these QBs.
Oh, my goodness. Steve's going to be working. You and I may have some beverages. We're going to be at the draft. He's going to be locked into it, and we're going to just blow up his phone. As
You're just going to be heckling me
yes,
the whole time?
As the top 10 rolls out, top 20, and I can't tell you what kind of state we'll be in by number 21, 22, 23 pick, but the top 20, I feel like all the way to the Steelers. We're going to be pretty locked in. Blake, do you have a question for Steve Palazzolo? Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. And SP joins us on the Corona Premier guest line. I just said it, and I'm sticking to it. Matt Corral is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. All right, Blake, go ahead.
I love that. So we did a little podcast yesterday with some people here, and so we asked this question. I'll ask you. I know you just said Kenny Pickett could go 6 to Carolina, but if you're gambling, does a quarterback go in the top 10, yes or no? And then if they don't go in the top 10, who is that first quarterback team, or what team is taking that first quarterback if it's not in the top 10?
If I say there's not a QB in the top 10, I think Malik Willis first off the board.
Okay.
And the Steelers are making a move to make that happen.
But
I would lean towards, yes, a QB goes in the top 10. The other thing that could happen is, the reason why the Panthers, they're just in desperate straits, right? I mean, they have number 6, and then they don't pick until 100-something in the 4th round. So if they're going to get a QB, the only way to do it is to sign Baker Mayfield or trade for Baker Mayfield, trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, draft one at 6, or trade down and be fine getting, one of the other guys at 15 or 20 or whatever they trade down to. So those are the Panthers' options. So as of right now, 6 has to be in play for them until they make a move for a veteran.
all right, would you rather have Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo? I think you'd rather have one of those guys. Or would you rather go with Malik Willis, Pickett, or Corral? Steve?
I think it depends on where the franchise is. Like if I need to win next year, I'd probably lean Garoppolo. If I'm still looking for a franchise quarterback, I think Baker would be my top choice because I think he could still be that guy. I think I would – it's a somewhat low investment, a 1-year look at Baker Mayfield to see if he could be that guy. And then if that doesn't work out, you kind of play next year's draft class. So I would rather go Baker Mayfield. Just if I need a franchise quarterback, I would look at Baker first and then look to this draft class. If I need to win now, I would look to a Garoppolo.
I agree. I agree. Now, between Garoppolo and Baker, now I know how high you were on Baker Mayfield coming out, and he's had some good and some bad. But if you had to pick today on Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield, which one would you pick?
I think it's close. I mean, they're both in the middle tier of quarterbacks. I'd probably lean Garoppolo. I think I know. It's interesting because, I know what I'm going to get from Garoppolo, which is uneven play. I know I'm going to get some inconsistency and some, bad passes into coverage and I think that's what I'm going to get from Garoppolo. So it's one of those you know what you're going to get, and what you're going to get is going to be inconsistent. Is that consistency? I don't know. So I'd lean, right? I'm consistently confident I'm going to get inconsistent play. So there we go. But Baker has different levels of inconsistency because I do think Baker Mayfield's high-end seasons are better than Garoppolo's, but they're similar in that regard. So, again, I really think it depends on where I am as an organization. There's still a chance that I'm going to build a team around Baker Mayfield, whereas I think if I'm signing a Jimmy Garoppolo, it's because I've lost out on other quarterbacks. I have a playoff caliber roster, and he's the best option available.
Okay. One
more year. I'm 1 more year away from quitting Baker. That's it. 1 more year.
What about Kyler Murray? So, I mean, people are now questioning exactly what we have. He does a lot of good things too. He's a lot of fun at times to watch. But where are you with Kyler Murray, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Baker Mayfield?
I mean, Kyler's the best option there. I need your take on that. When Kyler Murray deleted Arizona Cardinals from his Instagram, like, what did that say to you as a Gen Xer, I assume, right? Like, what does that say?
It says there's a lot of drama, and he's kind of it's like an NBA player, So, I don't know how. Look, they don't have strong leadership, probably within that organization. I mean, I think Kingsbury. I don't know. You rate him, probably a solid coach. I know they made it to the playoffs this year, but there are certain organizations where you don't ever see that, and it doesn't surprise me that you see that in Arizona. Your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, it's like the young millennial Gen Z way of making contract demands these days.
Right.
Delete your Instagram stuff.
Now,
it's funny to me because,
Dak couldn't do it. I do think it's funny that because Arizona is such a it's so far down the line as far as markets. Dak Prescott had to be the stand-up guy, say all the right things, blah, 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 was that a year and a half? I don't remember how long it was. But there are other guys in other markets that can either throw a fit or go on their Instagram, like you said, and delete their team's name and whatever. And then there are some guys in other markets who can't do that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, there's definitely an element to that. I mean, we're starting to see it though with Deebo Samuel did it and AJ Brown. It's just fascinating to me. And when Kyler Murray did it with the Cardinals, I'm fascinated to know what happened within the organization. Did somebody go to GM Steve Keim and say, "Look, Kyler's deleted everything on his Instagram. How are we going to respond?" Like the social media team had to respond through Instagram to Kyler Murray. So sorry, I took it off the rails, but I just think it's just a fascinating world we live in. But Kyler's the best. I think Kyler's the best of that bunch, him, Baker, or Jimmy Garoppolo. You add the run game component, what he can do there, how dynamic he is, his ability to throw the ball down the field. I thought he progressed awesome in year 3, even though they finished with a dud in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, Kyler would be that guy, but he's also the guy that you're far more you're going to pay him $40+ million a year. Whereas Baker Mayfield certainly hasn't proven that yet, and Garoppolo is not going to get that type of contract either. So it depends on what you're willing to invest there.
I love where you just went. Blake, I'll get to you in 1 second. The fact that now, this day and age, you actually have to have a meeting with your social media team and the head coach and the GM in there too. And can you imagine telling Jimmy Johnson that in 1992 as he's rolling with the Cowboys, or Bill Parcells in that run of 87 to 91 or whatever with the Giants, Joe Gibbs with the Redskins, Bill Walsh with the 49ers. Can you imagine, this calling people and say, hey, we've got to have a meeting. Deebo Samuel just deleted his stuff on his Instagram. Or isn't it crazy, though? But you do have meetings now with your social media crew along with the head coach and a general manager if things like that play out on social media.
Yeah, and within an organization, it's not like the social media team is in coaches' meetings or player evaluation meetings or anything. It is a separate department where they just tweet out cool stuff to promote the team. But at some point, Arizona had to make a response to Kyler Murray. We're going to delete Kyler Murray from a couple pictures. What's the best response? Delete everything? Delete a little bit? Apologize? They actually had to discuss that. It is a completely new world in the NFL. And you're also seeing a world where I think the players are truly trying to take control a little bit. You're seeing it with the receivers. You're seeing it with QBs. They're trying to get paid sooner, have more security sooner. I mean, it's fine, but it's the reality of the world that team builders and front offices have to live in.
You know who I love, speaking of all that is so matter of fact, and I love watching him when something's going down. He's obviously very talented. And good at what he does. But Mike Tomlin, when he has to address drama, we call it drama down here in the South. But, I love watching him because he is so matter of fact, Steve, and he's right kind of in your backyard.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't say that to Cincinnati fans, man. We're not. Don't call us Pittsburgh. Don't call us Pittsburgh. Same division, no. I mean, Tomlin. He's a very good head coach. You know, I thought the fact that just the way he's able to win year after year, even if when Big Ben's hurt or whatever it is, they're able to win games. You know that he has full control of that locker room, right? The players respect him and all that stuff. So there's definitely something to that. There is a consistency in Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin is a huge part of that, the way he controls the room.
Oh, all right. Blake's got a question. Blake Scott, obviously with us, Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com, talking NFL draft and NFL QBs and stuff, presented by Kinetic Staffing, kineticstaffing.com, to load your roster full of talent for your business or firm. Blake?
Yes. So, Steve, we talked about this yesterday again on this NFL preview, and it's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. You mentioned Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown, two guys who are not quite yet up for contract but are pushing the envelope to get a contract right now because the wide receiver market's at the highest it's ever been. However, my counter-argument to that is when you see guys like Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, who are inarguably, in my opinion, the top two receivers in the league, and they still have some longevity on that prime, and you see teams decide not to pay them, and you see what the number one wide receiver market value is going to, and then the flip side is that you see how many top-end receivers are coming out of the draft every year now. We're talking about potentially 6 or 7 guys in the first round this year. It seems like that's the new MO every year. Do you see the wide receiver market being a bubble that pops sooner than most other markets because quantity of availability is so high, unlike the QB position, that I don't have to pay my number one. I can go get 2 more number ones on rookie contracts?
Yeah, great question, Blake. I mean, I think the NFL has definitely been, look, there's been a lot of wide receivers over the last few years. Really, really good since about 2019 or so. At the same time, I do look at not every receiver that comes out is a true number one. Even in this year's class, I like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, Drake London, Jameson Williams. I like all those guys. Are any of those guys A.J. Brown or any of those guys a Julio Jones type? I don't think so. I don't know. But I'd lean no. And I'm not saying you have to have a number one guy because it is one of those positions where you guys hear me every week say, look, roll 4 deep at receiver. You want to be 4 deep with awesome receivers and say, here, defense, cover this. At the same time, when you have an A.J. Brown, I do think he is a force multiplier, and those number ones make everything better around them. That is why Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams are the best because, in the playoff game, Devontae Adams, after the first drive, saw double coverage every single drop back, every single third down. He sees double coverage. Tyreek Hill changed the way the Chiefs had to play football because the defense has completely changed. Those are good things that not every receiver can do. So I still think there's a lot of value in that. When you find that true number one, when you find that elite receiver, they are extremely valuable and probably worth that kind of money. But I think other teams that don't have that guy, the Cowboys are kind of a good example. Amari Cooper wasn't really – I don't think he's that true number one. He's not like a top 5 receiver. He's not that big of a game changer. But when it's Amari Cooper plus a Michael Gallup plus CeeDee Lamb, that's an awesome receiving corps. So I think some teams can go down that road and have 3 really, really good receivers and not pay one elite guy at $30 million a year. But I also don't think paying $25 to $30 million for that number one is that crazy because they are that valuable.
Okay.
That answer your question? So
yeah.
some teams are going to get away with not paying that top guy. But I do think the values are going to stay pretty high for receivers in these next couple of years anyway.
Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com, on the Corona Premier Guest Line. Y'all have Charles Cross as your number 1 offensive tackle. And I think you're number 3 prospect overall. Why do you have him as your number 1 offensive tackle?
Yeah, our draft expert, Mike Renner, absolutely loves Charles Cross from a pass protection standpoint. I mean, just movement skills, mirror skills, had the best pass protection grade, our play-by-play grading last year of those top 3 guys between him and Ike Ekwonu from NC State and Evan Neal from Alabama. So I think Cross has all those tools of just elite pass protectors, still has some work to do in the run game, but, it's a Mike Leach offense. You don't have many reps. in the run game, or just versatile type of reps as far as the scheme goes. So there's room to grow there, but I think our guys absolutely love Cross's potential, what he's shown, and the way he developed last year, especially in pass protection.
Okay. And you expect him to go, or you think he could go where?
I don't know. I don't know if the NFL is as high on Cross as we are. I have a feeling they like Evan Neal better, or Ekwonu. I mean, so any one of those three tackles can go in any order. It's kind of like 2 years ago, there was Andrew Thomas and Tristan Wirfs and Jedrick Wills, Mekhi Becton, all those guys. I didn't know exactly which order they were going to go, and I feel the same about this tackle class. So it sounds like the Jets might love Ike Ekwonu, and so maybe at 4 he goes. Cross could absolutely go to the Giants unless they don't want to move him to right tackle. But the Giants would be in play. The Panthers are in play if they don't get a quarterback. They think that'd be a great fit if they knew they were going to get a Jimmy Garoppolo. Draft Cross at 6, I think would be a good play. But I think any of those tackle needy teams in the top 10 are Seattle at 9, absolutely in play there as well. They need both tackle spots. So I think those tackles end up going top 10 or 11.
All 3?
All 3, yeah. I think they'll be off the board, especially if the Panthers do sign a quarterback and not pick it. They'll, I think, almost certainly have to draft a tackle. So.
I like it. All right.
I got a quick follow-up on this tackle thing.
Okay.
You mentioned talking about him being a great pass blocker and not as thorough on the run blocking just because he hasn't done it as much. In the NFL today, given all that we know about the game and what we see with like a Patrick Mahomes when things go wrong and you can't block somebody, Charles Cross gave up 2%. Gave up pressure on 2% of his 719 dropbacks. That's only 16 times that he gave up pressure on 719 dropbacks his senior year in college, or his last year in college. Isn't that the model of offensive tackle you want in the modern NFL?
Yeah, were you reading that straight out of our draft guide?
Don't worry about it, Steve.
I love it.
Probably from our social media.
That's
There's
PFF.
No way we paid for our
That's
draft guide.
that's PFF.com subscription courtesy of Steve Palazzolo.
I love it. I love
okay,
it.
that's right. I hooked you up. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a league and all that stuff. At the same time, the QB does somewhat control their pressure rate. But if you do have a guy that is I think really great pass protectors or really great run blockers are both valuable. But Cross, being the best pass protector, does fit today's NFL and what you want.
We'll leave it there. Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. I've got one more week to flip him on Matt Corral. And so I'm going to work hard.
By next week, he's going to the Lions at 2.
Well, you nailed it. All right, that's what we'll work on
Nice.
over the next few days. All right, be good, buddy. See ya.
Thanks, guys.
The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Blake, that was fun. Great hit on the NFL and some Matt Corral and Charles Cross. Show is brought to you by the amazing crawfish. Best crawfish in Mississippi. And shrimp at Mudbugs, 2 locations in Rankin County, Reservoir, and downtown Brandon. All at Mudbugs. Hour number 3.